On the session today, we have Siddharth Hosangadi with us. Siddharth is an accomplished sales consultant, trainer, and coach with over 25 years of sales leadership and consulting experience with MNCs like SAP and Oracle. And he's the founder of GoPush Consulting, a sales consulting company where he has helped several small and mid-sized tech companies improve their sales performance. Siddharth is an alumnus of Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, and he's also a chemical engineer from UBCT. Siddharth is also connected with ISKCON since 1996, and he loves lecturing on the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam in his spare time. So I would like to extend a warm welcome to Siddharth on this episode of Leadership Insights.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here, Vikram. Nice to be on the other side of the receiving end for a change.
Yes. I think people who have been following the 10xTD channel know you to be one of the regulars on the channel. So I think, like you said, it's always great to see it from the other perspective. So I think the topic today, which we will be discussing, is sales for entrepreneurs. Let's try and do it within 10 minutes, but I think sales for entrepreneurs is essentially what we're trying to do. So I think the top question in everybody's mind, Siddharth, is what would be those top 3 things which an entrepreneur should focus on when he thinks on sales?
That's a great question. It always becomes difficult when you focus things, this way. But if you look at sales as a function, there are certain things that a sales leader or an entrepreneur or founder needs to look at. Obviously, there is the sales strategy. There is what structure do you need that comes out of the sales strategy that you have, and what is the sales process that will kind of support the sales strategy and structure that you have. So I'll just focus on the sales process part of it, within which we've got prospecting, qualifying the deal, value selling, managing objections, negotiating, managing stakeholders. So there are different aspects of a sales process. But if one were to ask me what are the top 3 amongst these, I would say prospecting, qualifying the deal, and value selling are the 3 most important aspects, the top 3 things that entrepreneurs must look at, in terms of their sales effort. Now, why prospecting? Because obviously, you may have a marketing team in place which gets you leads, but salespeople should not have to depend on that. They should be doing their own prospecting, and they should be absolutely relentless in their prospecting. So sales is a bit of a combination of, the quantity. It's a probability thing in one sense, but to get good results, we have to have quantity. So the more engaging conversations you're having with clients, the more discussions you're having with prospective customers, the better are your chances of succeeding. But along with that, it's also about the quality of the conversations that you're having. What are you telling your clients that kind of hooks them, that gets them interested in engaging further? Remember, in the first prospecting call that you have, you're not really trying to sell a deal. All you're trying to do is get the first meeting with the client. So prospecting has to be voluminous, it has to be quality, and it has to be absolutely relentless. Every salesperson, in my humble opinion, should be spending a couple of hours at least a day on just hardcore old-fashioned prospecting. Don't just depend on social media and emails for your prospecting. Pick up the phone and talk to people. So this is one aspect, prospecting. Now, after you're done prospecting and you start getting clients who are showing interest to at least engage, the most important part of the sales cycle, in my opinion, again, is the qualifying deals. So how do you qualify a deal? How do you know that there is a deal here? How do you find out what challenges the customer is facing right now? Are those challenges serious enough, impactful enough that the client really needs to do something about it? Is there an urgency for them to do something about it now? Why should they work with us? If they have a problem and it is an urgent problem, why should they work with us? How will they buy? How will they decide? So these are some very important questions that need to be answered before we spend 3-6 months, on a particular client. So qualifying the deal is extremely important just to understand whether a deal exists, when will it close, will we win it, what's the value of the deal going to be, how will they decide. So it's very important for us to understand these questions as early as possible so that I don't end up wasting time on a lot of opportunities which really aren't opportunities. So qualifying is the next important thing. And then the third aspect, as I said, is value selling. So there are three levels of selling actually, right? One is what I call the feature, functionality, and benefits selling, right? That I've got these features and these are the benefits to the client. But this is a very low level kind of selling. The higher level than this is what we call the solution selling or the consultative selling, where you try to understand the customer's challenges and then show them how your solution addresses those particular challenges. So this is a higher level selling, but value selling is one notch higher than this as well, where you obviously you understand the customer's problems, but you dig deeper and try to understand the impact that these problems is having on their business. And then in your value selling, you obviously you correlate, the solution with the challenges they are facing, but you also give them an idea of the commercial impact that your solution is going to have. What's the business benefit? What's the business case for it? So if we sell like this, it actually kind of compels action. It encourages the customer to actually take action because they see the value in what you're bringing to the table. So these three are the most important aspects of managing a sales cycle. Now you may say negotiation is important as well. Of course it is. But if you've done a brilliant job, you've got a huge pipeline of opportunities which are qualified, and you're doing a very high level of sales engagement with them, a negotiation will be a breeze. So that's my 2 cents on what are the top three things that entrepreneurs need to look at in sales.
You prospect right, you qualify right, and then you do the right level of value selling. If you prospect right, you qualify right, and then I think while like you said, negotiation is important, but having done these three in the right sequence, in the right manner, it falls into place. The deal falls into place. So I think this is very, very insightful. And at the same time, I think all entrepreneurs have a lot of pressure to having started a venture, having started working on a product or a service. There's always this pressure to go to market. So, what would be the right time to take something to market? Does one wait for it to be perfected, completed before one goes there? Or do we just jump in and sort of build it on the fly?
That's a great question. If you look at products or services, whatever it is you're bringing to the market, with services, it is obviously easier. With products, it's a little more difficult to define what is a perfect product. Now, obviously, I believe we should not take a product to market unless it is at least having certain important attributes in it. We don't want to end up, cheating our first few customers who are showing faith in us. But waiting forever for the product to be ready is not a great idea. I remember, one training I had attended where the trainer said that, version 1.0 is always better than version none.0, right? This means that, don't just sit there waiting for the perfect product to emerge. No product will ever at any point in its sales cycle be 100% complete, because when you take a product to market, clients will give you feedback. They'll say, hey, this is missing, that is missing, this could be better, this needs to be present, and so on. So don't keep waiting for that. Build your once you have your product market fit, that you've done the research, you've seen what's the minimum viable product, you've done that research, you've built your product market fit. Then maybe you could look at who are your first three customers, even co-build the product with them. The first three customers who are trusting you, who are willing to experiment with you, who are willing to show the patience while you're building your product. So maybe you could co-build with them. And once you have your product market fit and your proof of concept, your first three pilot customers in place, then don't wait. Then start building your sales motion and take your product to market.
Great. Great. I think this is, I think, the great part of having this conversation with you. So that's like I think we're both able to look back on both the professional times. I mean, we face these problems in our professional careers as well as while we work with entrepreneurs. One more thing is, let's see, as an entrepreneur, you wear multiple hats. So like you need to run the show, you need to get the enterprise up and going. So sales is one of the various functions that you would need to put your time and energy upon. How would you advise an entrepreneur that where does he put his time and effort in to make sure that this is scaling the right way?
Well, in the at least in the early part of your business, I would say even ongoing, one definitely needs to invest time in sales, in marketing, in your offering, whether it's a product or service, and delivery. So these four are extremely important because almost all of them are directly impacting the value that a customer receives. So sales, marketing, product, and delivery. But one cannot afford to ignore finance and HR as well. So how is a founder supposed to divide himself or herself into six pieces and take care of each of these functions? Therefore, it is always great if you have a co-founder, a good co-founder who can at least take responsibility or ownership for one or two of these areas. Maybe somebody who's very strong in delivery or very strong in product. Have a good co-founder there, or someone who's very strong in sales and marketing. Find a good co-founder, and for the remaining areas like finance and HR, which are support functions but very important support functions, maybe you want to hire somebody, experienced people who will not be learning at your cost, experienced people and trusted people, and give that function to them. And as far as the sales part is concerned, definitely once you have your initial go to market in place, you should look at building something like a sales engine, which is having all the components which will ensure that the engine just keeps running. So look at external help maybe there to build a sales engine with your strategy, your structure, your process, your compensation, and your cadence, right? With these five elements, you can build a sales engine. Look for external help if you don't have that capability or bandwidth internally.
Mhm. One quick follow-up question on what we just spoke, Siddharth. Do you think some of these functions are more amenable to having someone come on board, an expert support, like you mentioned, external support? So, do you see one of these functions more amenable to somebody helping you externally on a part-time basis versus somebody being in-house and running the show on a day-to-day basis? Do you see any distinctions there? I mean,
No, it's a
sales.
great question. It's a great question. See, I think functions like, at least in the initial part, product development or finance, or HR as well, are best not outsourced. I would say these need to stay because these are very core to your existence. And sales also, you can outsource your sales strategy, you can outsource sales training, but don't outsource your sales team. You take a call. If you feel that having a sales team is too expensive for you, then maybe you may have a network of sales partners who will bring you business, but then have a team to manage those partners. Don't outsource that as well. As far as marketing is concerned, again, marketing in the initial part of the startup you can outsource, but think and delivery also, if the core is delivered by you, you can outsource some part of it. You can hire contract employees, for some part of the delivery. But if the outcome is very important, then the core of that delivery team has to be your own people who are trained and really understand your product or service very
Sure, sure. I think great. I had one last question to round off the topic on sales for entrepreneurs. We've all been in situations where we've done our market research, we've gone to market, and then we spent the next 6 months, 9 months, and it's not really scaling the way we thought it would. So, at which point does someone start looking at things critically, and do take a call? Do I pull the plug? Do I pivot? How does one take a call on some of these things?
That's a very deep question, Vikram. If one is to look at this particular thing, right, that at what point does one let go of the baby that one has built? It's very tough. It's a very difficult question. But if you're genuinely putting in efforts and you're not seeing success, right? I'm not the best person to comment on this, but here's my 2 cents again, that if one is struggling, very clearly struggling to succeed in the market, I think you should definitely have a relook at a couple of things. Relook at the market potential. Is there, sufficient market potential for the product or service that we're taking to the market? I mean, there's a big enough market. Then second, have the incumbents in the market built very high entry barriers or not? Then third thing you can look at is, is my product market fit good, or is it just average? That's another thing you can look at. And of course, the competitive nature of the market. Now, if you see that there are good positives, that the market potential is high, entry barrier is not so much of an issue, your product market fit seems excellent, and competition is always there in every market, but it's not like so bad that the price is not viable, it's not profitable to do business. If that's what your observation is, then probably you need to look at your sales and marketing strategy again. Look at, what am I doing? Is my sales go to market correct? Is my value proposition to my customers well designed? Am I hiring the right salespeople? Is my structure suited to what the market needs? Are my salespeople, are they trained, or shall I invest in training them? So for some of these things, if you're not able to figure out the answers yourself, again, look at external help and get people who have done this before and help you to sort it out before you take the nuclear option of actually shutting down. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, Siddharth. I think that's been a great. I know some of these are classics, but finally, when you're in the fray and you're managing things, some of these answers don't come to us naturally, and you've given us great insights on various aspects about sales, and I think a lot of gems here. Like for example, like you mentioned, the first few customers who worked with us, right? I mean, these are our early adopters. They are the ambassadors. I mean, the importance of prospecting and qualifying. I think these are. I mean, there's no substitute to actually going and connecting with your market, connecting with the customers, and getting the show on the road. So I think thank you for this session. We'll be back. I think the sales as a topic is not one which can be encapsulated in 10 minutes or one session. So I think we'll be back to pick your brains more on this topic, and we shall dig deeper into this.
Thank you so much, Vikram. Thank you for this opportunity, and I absolutely loved interacting with you. Great, thoughtful questions, and I look forward to interacting with you again on this. Thank you.
Thank you.